For now, yes, it's calm here, but my heart is shattered. My family has been pulled apart, and I'm frightened for my children. I just really want this to end. It's a nightmare.
All right.
Okay, I'm on your 6.
Good.
Provide cover.
I'm on it.
Door is open.
Have a bit of this.
I've never seen someone there before.
Suspect DOA.
Hands up, do it now! Roger that. Continue with your mission.
They're all healthy, all my guys. So.
Collecting evidence.
Provide support on me.
Coming to you, sir.
I like the actual implementation of this, because you know, you take off these and now you can't see anything. If there was some kind of scope here, this would be much better.
Put your hands up!
Disarming trap.
C2, flashbang it and clear it.
Time for some fireworks. Chem light out.
Fall in.
I'm on your 6.
The suspect has expired.
Talk to entry team. Copy that, entry team. Proceed with mission.
The suspect has expired.
Talk to entry team. Roger that, entry team. Tag him
Hands
and
up.
keep moving. This is talk. Roger that, entry team. Tag him and keep moving.
We've got a dead suspect here.
Talk to element. Roger that, entry team. Tag him and keep moving.
Suspect
Talk to
up,
entry
do it
team.
now.
Copy, entry team. Proceed with mission.
I can hear him. Drop the damn gun.
Do it
Get
now!
on the ground now.
Stay where you are.
Get your hands off me.
We got a suspect here ready for trailers.
Talk to entry team. Copy that, entry team. Notifying morgue.
Cover this area.
Roger.
Use the
we'll
mirror.
take care of it.
Check for targets.
Mirror gun ready. Got the mirror here. I'm clear. It's locked. How do we proceed?
Post up and cover. Move to my front.
Going and
Cover this area. Post up and cover.
Affirmative.
Mirror for suspect.
All right, Roger. Look at that. It's open.
No traps visible. Multiple people. Some have guns, some don't.
Open it. Use stingers to clear. Provide cover.
Drop the
Look
gun.
at that.
Do
It's
it
open.
now. Drop your weapon now.
Drop your weapon and get your hands up.
Done.
Police, get down.
Light stick away.
Down on your knees.
Relax.
Fuck.
Suspect is secured.
Talk to element. Roger that, entry team.
We've
Tag
got
him and
this
keep
under
moving.
control.
You wanna loosen these cuffs a bit?
Suspect secured.
Talk to element. Roger that. Continue with your mission.
Get on the ground now.
Civilian good to go for evac.
Talk reporting. Roger that, entry team. Tag him and keep moving.
On my 6.
Roger, I'm coming to you.
Put the...
Mission failed. We no longer have control of the situation. Fall back.
Okay. That wasn't fun.
You've got point.
Provide cover.
Affirmative.
Copy that. Open for business.
Still somebody in there.
Open clear with flashbangs. Suspect killed.
Talk to high ground. Roger that. Continue with your mission.
Suspect DOA.
This is talk. Affirmative, entry team.
Bangs free. Police, hands up! Down on your knees. Hands up, above your head.
Low
Down
light
on your
deployed.
knees.
Wow. There we go.
Suspect is secured.
Talk reporting. Affirmative, entry team.
On my 6.
Let's
You've
go,
got
let's
point.
go. Do like how it lights up a little bit as well, though, and
Drop your weapons! Hands up, do it now!
Make him secure.
Suspect in sight. This one's secure.
Suspect in custody. Ready when you are.
Talk to entry team. Roger that. Trailers en route.
Hands up! Hands up above your head. Put your hands up. Get down. I want to see hands. Down on your knees. Hands up.
I'm surrendering.
Hands up. Down on your knees.
Drop it now!
Potential civilian spotted.
Hands up now. Drop your...
Restrain targets.
This one's secure.
The suspect is expired.
Talk reporting.
I know you've been through a lot,
Copy
but
that,
I've got to
entry
do
team.
this. It's my job.
Notifying morgue. This is Talk. Copy. Move on.
Drop the weapon, now!
Get on the ground now.
Make him secure.
One suspect in sight. Secured and ready for trailers.
Police, hands up. Get on the ground now.
My hands are up.
Suspect is secure and ready for transport.
This
Move
is
to my
Talk.
front.
Great
Getting
work,
into
entry
position.
team.
Provide cover.
Keep it up.
Hands up above your head.
Civilian inside.
Make him secure.
Contact is restrained. We'll be okay.
I need to get out of here.
Talk reporting. Copy, entry team. Notifying trailers.
Falling behind me.
All right, you got point.
Post up and cover.
Roger, on it now. Locked.
Hands up.
I'm out,
Get on the
okay? I give
ground
up.
now.
Make him secure.
Civilian inside. Just doing my job, sir.
Talk reporting.
On my 6.
Great work, entry
Copy.
team.
Coming
Keep
to
it
you.
up.
Lockpick it.
Multi-tool ready. Done. We're good to go.
Cover me.
Going and gone.
Open door. Clear with stingers.
Popping stinger!
Now!
We've got a dead suspect here.
Talk to high ground.
Let's stick out.
Copy that, entry team. Proceed with mission.
Provide support on me.
You've got point.
Provide cover.
Cover me.
Copy. We're moving out now.
Cover this area. Mirror for
Affirmative.
suspect.
Got the mirror here. Got the mirror here. Mirror gun ready.
Use the mirror. Check for
Roger
targets.
that.
Looks safe to me. Suspect is visible.
It's clean, boss. Nobody's
Open
home.
sesame.
It's clear.
Blow that door. Clear it.
All right, copy that. Fire in the hole.
It's locked. How do we proceed?
Hands up! Do it now!
This is talk. Copy, entry team. Proceed with mission.
Post up and cover.
It's locked.
Open the door.
Roger. On it now. It's locked. How do we proceed? Locked. Locked.
Pick the
Entry
lock.
denied. Door locked. It's locked. How do we proceed? It's locked. It's locked. It's locked. How do we proceed? Locked. Locked.
Is it locked?
Affirmative.
Okay,
Shutting
readying
the door
flashbang.
now. Affirmative. Shutting the door now. Roger. Closing the door. Roger. Closing the door. Affirmative.
On me.
Shutting the door now.
Okay, I'm on your 6.
Alright, so this house is clear. I don't want to go into that house again from here, so let's backtrack.
Stay on me.
Copy. Coming to you.
Provide support on me.
Copy that. Falling in.
Shit, fuck!
Let me see those hands.
Drop your weapons!
No
Drop
fucking
the weapons
way.
now! Put your hands up! Get down!
Potential
Put your hands
civilian
up.
spotted.
Hands up! Above
No
your head!
fucking way!
Hands up! Above your down! on
Civilian
your
in
knees.
sight.
Hands up!
Don't
Above your
shoot.
head!
Restrain targets. Make them secure.
Secured and ready for
Okay,
trailers.
done. Contact secured.
The sub-
Police,
to high
hands
ground.
up!
Roger
Secured
that,
and
entry
ready
team.
for
Tag
nothing
them
personal,
and keep
man.
moving. Talk to high ground. Copy, entry team. Notifying
cover.
trailers.
Roger. We'll take care of it. It's locked.
Got a dead suspect here.
Talk to entry team. Roger that. Continue with your mission.
Provide support on me.
Roger, coming to you. Drop your weapons.
Gun down now!
Drop your weapon and get your hands down.
I don't have any more.
Put your hands up.
You wanna loosen these cuffs a bit?
Open door. Clear with stingers.
Roger that.
Copy that.
It's open.
Poppin' stinger.
Moving a drone.
Shit. Fuck you. Eat this.
Suspect DOA.
Talk to entry team.
Stick out.
Roger, entry team. Notifying medical.
Get on the ground now.
On me.
Affirmative. Moving into your position.
Now!
The suspect has expired.
Talk to high ground. Talk copies all. Proceed with your mission.
You got cops.
Drop the gun. Now! Drop the gun. Drop it.
Hands up, I'll bump you. Put your hands up.
Suspect killed.
Talk reporting. Talk copies all. Proceed with your mission.
Provide cover.
Roger that. Copy that.
Cover this area.
How do we proceed?
Roger. We'll take care of it. Open for business.
Open, bang, and clear.
Roger that, sir. Readying flashbang.
Disarming trap.
On me.
Right behind you.
Right.
We'll take care of it.
Disarming trap.
Oh, I didn't see that.
We no longer have control of the situation. Fall back.
But wasn't like the downed officer killed at the same time as me? Or was I not the downed officer? Alright, I'll have another go. I'm trying to get this one done. This is the hardest one I've found so far. I've done completed 2. This is the 3rd map I'm on. But this is far harder than the one. There's so many tight corners and stuff.
Sir, right behind you.
Provide cover.
Absolutely.
Copy that. It's unlocked, sir.
Does he have a gun? Can't see a gun.
Open clear with flashbangs.
Man, you can't jump at all in this one.
Deploying
Drop
flashbang.
your weapon.
Put your hands up, please.
Put the gun
your
down
weapon
now.
now.
Get your hands up!
Got shit.
Make him
Low
secure.
light deployed.
Contacting custody.
You're lucky. This didn't end worse.
Suspect.
Get
This is
down. I
Talk.
want to see hands.
Copy that, entry team. Notifying trailers.
Let me past.
did you hear something?
Drop it now!
The gun's
Down
down.
on
I don't
your
have any
knees.
more.
Hands up! Do it now!
Engaging suspect.
Down on your knees!
Don't move. Stay put.
This isn't good.
Suspect standing by for transportation.
Talk to high ground. Affirmative, entry team.
Better than that guy.
On me.
Affirmative. Moving into your position.
Cover this area.
Roger that, sir.
Entry denied. Door locked.
Open. Deploy stingers and clear.
Roger that, sir.
Copy that. Open and unlocked.
All right, pop and stinger.
Moving up.
Gun down now.
Hands up!
Drop your weapon and get your hands up! Drop your weapon!
Gun down now.
Shoot you.
Hands up!
That was a lot of people.
We've got a dead suspect here.
Get down! I
Reporting.
want to see hands!
Affirmative, entry team. Copy that, entry team. Proceed with mission.
Get on the ground now!
This is talk. Affirmative, entry team.
Police, hands up!
Drop the weapon, now!
The suspect is expired.
Talk to entry team. Roger, entry team. Notifying medical.
Hands up! Do it now!
Fall in.
I'm on your 6.
Post up and cover.
Roger. Copy that. It's unlocked, sir.
Cover this area.
Disarming trap.
On me.
Roger, coming to you.
C2, bang and clear.
Yeah, copy that. Fire in the hole.
Get down! I want to see hands up!
Get
Put
down
your
and
hands
put the
up.
weapon on the
Hands
ground.
up!
Showing hands, okay?
Police, hands up! Police, hands up!
Chem light out.
Hands up! Get down! I want to see hands!
This what you signed up for, pig?
Hands up now! Drop to your knees!
We've got a
Pretty
suspect
sure that's
here
exactly
ready
what
for
I signed up
trailers.
for.
Talk to high ground. Roger, entry team.
This
Notifying
is
medical.
protocol.
Oh, my fucking arm, asshole.
We've got a suspect here ready for trailers.
This is talk. Roger, entry team. Notifying medical.
C2, bang and clear.
Fire in the hole. Moving up.
Hands up now! Drop your down on your knees! Hands up! Do it now!
Stay still.
Light stick out.
Oh, fuck me.
Suspect is secured.
Talk to element. Roger that, entry team. Tag him and keep moving.
Provide cover.
Roger.
On me.
Sir, right behind you.
Well, drop it. Get down now.
We can flush him out like that.
Use the mirror. Check for
Roger.
targets.
On it now. It's safe. No traps here. Room clear.
Provide cover.
Roger. We'll take care of it. Open and unlocked.
Drop your weapons! Hands up! Get on the ground now! Hands up! Do it now!
Suspect standing by for transportation.
Talk to high ground. Roger that. Continue with your mission.
Suspect killed.
Talk reporting. Affirmative, entry team.
Get down! I want to see hands! Hands up now! Put your hands up! Get on the ground now!
Stay still.
I didn't do anything.
Civilians standing by for trailers.
This is talk.
Hands up!
Roger
Bumper, get
that,
down!
entry
I
team.
want to...
Suspect killed.
Talk reporting. Copy that, entry team. Proceed with mission.
Hands up now! Drop your knees! Hands up!
I gotta get out of here.
Drop it now!
No
Drop
fucking
it now!
way. I can hear him.
Drop the weapon now!
Get on the ground now! Get down! I want to see hands! Put your hands up!
Please, I need help.
Hands up!
My hands are
Hands up! Do
Don't
it now!
shoot.
Stay where you are.
Hey, what the hell? What did I do?
Civilian good to go for evac.
Talk to entry team. Copy that,
Get us
entry
out of
team.
here.
Proceed
You
with
have to
mission.
get us out of here.
Civilians standing by for trailers.
Talk to high ground. Copy that, entry team. Notifying morgue.
Stay on me.
Copy. Coming to you. Civilian contact. Taking care of it now.
Drop it now!
Get on the ground, now!
God damn it!
Down on your knees!
Cover this area.
Roger.
I can't get in there, sir.
No way I can get there.
Open. Deploy CS and clear it.
Roger that, sir.
Stay on me.
On your 6.
Post up and cover.
Consider it done.
Aim high.
Negative. I cannot get there.
Get down! I want to see
putting
hands.
you
Get
up,
down!
don't
I
shoot.
want to
Unarmed
see
contact.
hands.
Restrain targets.
Put the gun down now!
Put the gun down now!
This one's secure. Civilian restrained. Ready for pickup.
We've got a dead suspect here.
Talk to entry team. Copy, entry team. Notifying trailers.
On me.
Right behind you.
Suspect DOA.
Talk reporting. Copy that, entry team. Proceed with mission.
Provide cover.
Roger that.
Open clear with flashbangs.
All right. Roger that.
Bangs ready. Check your cover! Cam light out.
Post up and cover.
Roger that. Copy that.
Cover this area.
It's open.
All
We're
right.
good to go.
Roger that.
Post up and cover.
Absolutely. Copy that. Open for business.
Open the door.
Roger that, sir.
Cover this area.
Get down and put your
Hands
hands
up, do
up!
it now!
I said now!
Open clear with flashbangs.
Copy that.
All right, moving up.
Suspect DOA.
This is talk. Roger that.
All right,
Continue
lights
with
they
your
got, sir.
mission.
Protocol.
Get your hands off me.
Civilians standing by for trailers.
Talk reporting. Copy that, entry team. Notifying morgue.
Disarming trap.
On me.
Coming to
Provide
you, sir.
support on me.
On your 6.
Hands up, do it now!
Roger. We'll take care of it.
The suspect is expired.
Talk to entry team. Talk copies all. Proceed with your mission.
I'm gonna find that meth now. We know that one is in. I think the one's in the gas station anyway. Did I just come through here? I think I probably did. Yeah. Okay. So let's check downstairs, maybe. No. Does anybody know where the other meth is? Bro, get out of my way, I can't. I don't see it in this building. We'll go back to the petrol station, we'll get that one. Then it just leaves one, which must be on the ground floor of that building. Does anybody know? That's all I can think. No? Nobody? Alright. Let's grab this one. I must have missed this one down here. In the laundromat. So that'll be one.
Collecting evidence.
There's just one here, I guess. But get out of my way, bro. Maybe in the garage or something up here? I don't know if I prefer this to the MP5. It does pack a bigger punch, and I don't feel like I'm running out of ammo as much. Like with the MP5, I really felt like I was running low. Can you get through here? No. We have 2 injured guys. Look it up on Google if I can't find it. Should be able to say, where's the fucking meth, bro?
One person looks to be unarmed.
What? Is he not restrained? You're restrained, bro. Bro?
Be advised, unarmed contact.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Suspect DOA.
Talk to high ground. Talk copies all. Proceed with your mission.
Suspect in sight.
Yeah, I'm aware, bro. Maybe they haven't seen him. No? Nobody? Right, there's still one area. I think in the other mode, I think there was something over here, right? I think the maps change depending on what you're doing. What's up here? Okay, so this is just like a Overwatch type thing. We can see. Yes, that is a good position. Oh, you have one guy up here, and he's just like taking him out. Where's that Vom Red, bro? have to look it up online. Unless it's up here. Why can't I get up this little fucking... Alright, let's look it up online. What is this map?
Crystal meth packages. There's always one in the kitchen, it looks like, that's always right in this fridge.
Oh, there you go.
And the second one, if you go out like in the backyard, you gotta go right and go through this like cave. Gotta make your way down and through the tunnels.
No.
And then it should be right.
Maybe I'm in the wrong house.
That's it. It's both of them.
Let's try the other house. Oh, this is gonna be
Ready or
annoying.
Not.
Hands up
This
now.
is an
Drop your
instructional
knees.
video on how to play for those who are new to the game.
No! Tell me the game just didn't die. Come on. This is the second time that I've been close to finishing this level and this has happened. Fuck off.
On me.
Well, that's very disappointing. My dog's barking.
Ukraine needs help. It has done for months. As Russia sent more and more troops to the border, Ukraine was receiving more and more military aid from the West. Overall, the US has given $2.5 billion worth since 2014. And as Ukraine's military has doubled in size, it's been fighting too, against separatists in eastern Ukraine. But Thursday night brought something new. And faced with Russia's invasion, Ukraine needs more help. That won't be troops, as President Biden has made clear.
We have no intention of fighting Russia.
But this weekend, the West escalated its military support. First, the Americans released a further $350 million. Other countries offered more too. The UK, France, Poland, Turkey, Belgium, and crucially, Germany.
With the invasion of Ukraine, we have entered a new era.
Since the Second World War, Germany hasn't sent weapons into conflict zones. Not anymore. The new Chancellor Olaf Scholz tweeted, "We are delivering 1,000 anti-tank weapons and 500 Stinger missiles to our friends in Ukraine." He told Germans there was no other choice. And the list of weaponry continues to expand. Javelin anti-tank guided missiles from the UK, the US and Estonia, drones from Turkey. And Germany's policy shift means countries which have German-made weapons can share those too. The extra support's been noted. On Friday, President Zelensky said Ukraine was being left alone. But on Saturday night, he tweeted, "Keep it up, Chancellor Scholz, the anti-war coalition in action." There is, though, a challenge here. Getting military aid into Ukraine is more complicated now. For example, flying weapons in poses an unacceptable risk.
Anti-tank, anti-aircraft systems can be trucked across the border, picked up by the Ukrainians. The vital problem then is to get the stuff in the volume that's needed as quickly as possible, but then, of course, for the Ukrainian forces to be able to distribute them to the battlefronts where they're actually needed.
And so, Putin's invasion is being resisted by Ukrainians with Western weapons. It can't be known if that will be enough. Now, these are very, very worrying times, of course, for Ukrainians who live in the UK and very much worry about their loved ones back home. Let's speak to Martin White. His wife is in Ukraine. He's in regular contact with her. She's a medical doctor who works in the main medical hospital in Lviv, which is in the west of Ukraine. Martin, thank you very much indeed for joining us. How's your wife doing? What are you hearing from her?
Good evening. Look, we're in contact pretty regularly. Sorry, this is a bit more difficult than I thought. In Lviv, things are not as bad as in other parts of the country, obviously, as your correspondents are saying. I've got a house, or we've got an apartment in Lviv. Obviously, my wife is Ukrainian. So she's able to walk to the hospital sort of every third, fourth day, which is her roster. We've also got a dacha out in the countryside, and at the moment, she's been able to leave Lviv during the course of the day and travel there where we have other family members. So she has a daughter there and a mother and two young children from her sister, I beg your pardon. So Lviv is not so bad. We've also got a son and a daughter-in-law who are both in the military service. They're stationed in Odessa, which is obviously, as you've been seeing, much more being heavily bombarded, but we're in constant contact with them. And it's just one day at a time. My wife has plenty of food and water and things like that because, you know, we're in a luckier position in Lviv than, say, in the middle of Kiev. And it's just one day at a time.
I can imagine it is, and I can see how desperately worrying these days are for you. Your relatives in Odessa, what are they telling you about the situation there? Again, we've got an apartment there where my son stays. That's in Arcadia, which is probably, off the top of my head, about 8 kilometers from the port itself. The port has been bombarded pretty regularly, but so far the Russians haven't succeeded getting through the waters sort of into the main area. I'm aware that it's pretty heavily defended by the Ukrainians. And again, you know, I've lived in You can take a moment if you want, Martin. It's absolutely fine. We're in no rush.
I've lived in Ukraine for 6 years now. The people are very honest. You know, people. That's, you know, I lived there all my time now. And it's just there's nothing much you can do. You know, especially when I work overseas for the majority of my life, and I'm currently, you know, doing about 4 months in Ukraine and working 8 months overseas. That's my job. But you know, right now the reason I'm here in the UK is I'm flying back to Poland on Saturday, and hopefully we'll enter into Ukraine and get home.
Well, I was going to ask you that. If you do get to Poland, it sounds like that is your intention to try and cross the border and join up with your wife?
Yes, 100%. It's impossible to stay outside.
But some people, Martin, might be watching and thinking perhaps you would want your wife to go the other way, to come out.
Well, she's a medical doctor contracted to the armed forces in Ukraine, so it's like a desertion, so she can't do that. She's contracted to stay, and she will not leave anyway. You know, Ukraine is her life. So there's nothing much else you can say. Just have to work together as a family and hope and pray that everything comes right.
And when you talk to your son who's in Odessa, presumably he also has to stay, but wants to stay too.
Wants to stay at the moment. I don't actually speak to Bobber regularly because obviously there's a lot of people are scanning what's going on and what's being said, etc., etc. But in reality, if the country stays as it is, they will stay in the country. If the country falls, they will definitely want to leave. Nobody wants to. Well, I know the western part of Ukraine in particular, nobody wants to live and work under the Ukrainians. Under the Russians. You know the history of Russia, and in the past, they fought for independence. They won their independence. They do not want to go back under the Russian rule. That's 100%. I think looking at what's happened, commentators are saying that Putin's underestimated the will of the Ukrainians. He has totally underestimated. Even ethnic-speaking Russians in and around that we know do not want to be under Putin's regime, 100%.
Well, Martin, we appreciate you talking to us. Perhaps we can talk again when you reach Poland or when you reach the west of Ukraine and see your wife. Thank you very much, and best wishes to you and to your family.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
It's Martin White speaking to us about the contacts he's having with his family in the west of Ukraine and also in Odessa too. Now, thousands of Ukrainians are volunteering to fight, to defend their neighbourhoods. That's despite many of them having no previous military experience. The Ukraine Defence Minister says that 25,000 guns have already been handed over to the Territorial Defence Force in the Kiev area alone. Our correspondent Zana Bezpiatchuk has more from the capital.
Civilians answering the call to defend their country. Across Kiev, 25,000 machine guns have been given out to ordinary Ukrainians to fight the Russian army. Some of these men are being handed their weapons for the first time. Volodymyr Vyatrovich is one of them. He is a member of parliament and says it's everyone's duty to fight.
Everybody able to defend the country has to take up arms. I'm glad the members of the parliament managed to impose martial law. Afterwards, they jointly lined up for guns. As far as I know, over 100 members of the Ukrainian parliament took up arms and are joining different territorial defense units now. It was scary to wait for an invasion endlessly.
Yellow armbands mark these men out as volunteer fighters. They come from all walks of life, from artists and lawyers to sportsmen. But whatever their background, they will all be expected to patrol the city under martial law.
There are people with military experience, war veterans, and then there are people who swap their pens or keyboards for guns. I know what a huge potential Ukrainians have for rebellion. I hope after victory to write a book about the history of this war.
All men under 60 have been banned from leaving the country and have been urged to fight. As Russian forces move into the capital, the people here say it'll take everyone's efforts to stop them. Zhanna Bezpiatchuk, BBC News, Kiev.
Now, here in the UK, Britain's Foreign Secretary Liz Truss said she'd support anyone from Britain going to Ukraine to fight alongside Ukrainians. She then later modified her words, saying she wouldn't oppose people doing it. Her remarks followed an appeal by Ukraine's president for international help. She also says the UK government will look urgently at what more can be done to help Ukrainian refugees who want to reach the UK. Here's more on this from our political correspondent, Ione Wells.
In chilling darkness, Ukrainian refugees queue to cross the border in neighbouring Poland, many with young children. The UK has sent humanitarian aid, but the government's under pressure to commit to taking in more refugees. Natalia lives in the UK. Her 69-year-old mother, Valentina, fled from Kharkiv in Ukraine on the Russian border to Hungary.
The trip to Hungary was initially by foot, then she used some, I'm not entirely yet sure, I think she stopped some cars in Ghoteish and got herself to a train station somewhere, then got herself to Budapest, and then from Budapest she managed to fly to Paris, which is very brave of her because she doesn't speak English and, you know, doesn't really travel so much on her own.
Natalia met her mother Valentina there, but when they reached the UK border in Paris, Valentina was denied entry because she didn't have a visa.
My mom has claimed asylum and humanitarian assistance, and they said that they couldn't consider this because the border post was not on the UK soil.
The problem for Valentina is she's not a dependent of her daughter. The Home Office say British nationals and their dependents are their priority. Visa services in Ukraine are suspended for everyone else, but if they reach a neighbouring country, they can apply for a visa to work or study in the UK under the points-based immigration system.
Still people.
But Labour and some Tory MPs want the government to ditch these normal visa restrictions for Ukrainians trying to flee war.
We have to have a generous scheme that is equivalent to the scheme that we offered people after the Balkans crisis. We're asking people to jump through hoops. There's bureaucracy, there's red tape. Why would we ask people what their salary levels are when you're fleeing war?
So what is the UK doing to support? As well as military and humanitarian aid, the Foreign Secretary Liz Truss said while the UK has ruled out sending troops to fight in Ukraine, she would absolutely support British citizens going to fight.
I do support that, and of course that is something that people can make their own decisions about.
When it comes to refugees, though, she said ministers were looking at what more they could do.
Britain has always welcomed refugees fleeing from war, and we're urgently looking at what more we can do to facilitate that. But ultimately, what we need to make sure is that we protect Ukraine as a sovereign democracy. Ultimately, the people of Ukraine want to live in Ukraine.
Valentina is one of those people. She didn't want to leave her country, but missiles have rained down on her hometown and tells me here President Putin must be stopped. Ione Wells, BBC News.
Just before we finish this hour, I want to reiterate the latest estimates from the European Union on how many Ukrainians have been displaced by this conflict. These pictures are from just on the Poland side of the border. You can see awful, awful conditions as tens and tens of thousands of people come across every day. The latest estimates are that over 350,000 have left the country, but the EU is saying an estimated 7 million people have been displaced overall. We will continue bringing you coverage of Russia's invasion of Ukraine in the coming hours. Thanks for watching.
Hello, we've seen a lot of sunshine across the UK today, but changes are afoot, and we're looking to the west to our next Atlantic system, which will make its presence felt through this evening, overnight and into tomorrow. So gradually working its way eastwards, and that will start to bring rain into Northern Ireland and Scotland initially through this evening and at first tonight, and then starting to push into parts of northern England, Wales and southwest England later in the night. Ahead of that, we'll keep clear skies for a good part of the night, particularly across eastern counties before that cloud starts to build in. But where we keep the clear skies, temperatures could get close to freezing for some eastern counties, so can't rule out an early frost before the temperatures rise from the west as the night wears on. But it sets us up for an unsettled day tomorrow. We've got this band of rain clearing through the morning from Scotland and Northern Ireland, sunshine and showers following on behind, some persistent rain for Northern England, Wales, southwest England.
We'll just count that as
Unlikely
done.
to get across East Anglia and southeast England until much later in the day, and coupled with that rain band will be some strong winds, like to see gales across the Western Isles. But it's a mild start to the new week for most, temperatures generally between 9 and 12 Celsius. And that band of rain continues on its slow progress eastwards through Monday evening and overnight, eventually reaching East Anglia and southeast England. Behind it, clearer skies, a few wintry showers feeding into northern Scotland. Here, potentially, we could see some icy stretches as temperatures fall close to, if not below, freezing, but staying well above freezing across southern and southeastern England. We've got that hangback of cloud and still perhaps some patchy rain. And that's really how we continue into Tuesday. High pressure building from the west across much of the UK, but this lingering front likely to keep the cloud across southern counties of England. Also some patchy rain, which may just start to push back into southern counties through the day. Elsewhere, though, it's a fine, dry day. Plenty of sunshine. Could still see a few wintry showers over the higher ground of Scotland. The winds will start to ease down as well, and temperatures coming down slightly, between 8 and 10 Celsius for many. Where we've got the sunshine, should feel fairly pleasant. A messy picture as we head into Wednesday. Our frontal system starts to push back slowly northwards across the UK, so increasing the cloud, bringing some patchy rain, although Scotland should have a fine and dry day. So really, through the middle part of next week, it's starting to turn a bit more unsettled again, with rain returning from the south and likely to linger into Thursday.
Step into the future,
I'm going to look into this, and I'm not going to be frightened of it.
where everyday conditions are explored like never before.
Let's flip the visors down. Wow, that's amazing. These are your breaths.
Your body uncovered. With Kate Garraway. Starts Wednesday at 8 on BBC Two and iPlayer.
And one person who's not sitting is Carol.
What is your message to people like that this morning? Is that your position now?
That BBC Breakfast, I take that.
On your 6.
This is BBC News. These are the latest headlines in the UK and around the world. As the battle rages, a hope for peace. Ukraine's president agrees to talks with Russia, but accuses the Kremlin of war crimes.
Russia's criminal actions against Ukraine show signs of genocide. Russia is on the path of evil.
Fighting street to street in the country's second city, Kharkiv, as Russia admits to military casualties for the first time. Vladimir Putin says he is moving Russia's nuclear forces to high alert, in response to what he called aggression from Western leaders.
Western countries are not only taking unfriendly steps against our country in the economic dimension, but the top officials of leading NATO countries also make aggressive statements with regards to our country.
The European Union pledges to ship arms to Ukraine, calling the move a watershed moment for the bloc.
For the first time ever, the European Union will finance the purchase and delivery of weapons and other equipment to countries.
They're here. Drop your weapons! Your hands down!
The British-based multinational will offload its stake and quit its seat on the Russian board. Researching aid in Poland says at least 200,000 people have now crossed Ukraine since the invasion began.
The suspect is expired.
Talk reporting. Roger that, entry team. Tag him and keep moving.
Hello, and if you've just joined us, welcome to BBC World News. I'm Sean Lang. Ukraine has agreed to hold talks in the coming days with a Russian delegation without preconditions on its border with Belarus. In another major development today, President Putin ordered Russian military commanders to put the country's strategic nuclear forces on the in response to NATO aggression. The move has been condemned by the White House. NATO says Putin's threat is aggressive and irresponsible. In the last couple of hours, the European Union has announced that it will begin shipping arms to Ukraine. The first time in its history it's taken such a step. It's also introducing more sanctions. That includes the closure of airspace to all Russian planes and a ban on pro-Kremlin media. Italy's Prime Minister Mario Draghi reacted with utmost determination as he described the Russian invasion as barbaric.
Suspect DOA.
Talk reporting. Affirmative, entry team.
Exiting the nearly 20% stake it currently holds in the Russian oil giant Rosneft.
Stay on me.
Its seat
I'm on your 6.
At the end of last year, that stake was worth about $14 billion. And in the last few minutes, the English Football Association has announced England will not play against Russia in any international fixture for the foreseeable future. The statement follows similar announcements by the football associations of Poland, Sweden and the Czech Republic. Now let's take a look at the latest map of Russian-controlled territory in Ukraine.
The suspect has expired.
Cities.
Talk reporting. Roger, entry team. Notifying medical.
Closest to the Russian border. The UN Nations Refugee Agency estimates 368,000 people have currently fled Ukraine to try to escape the conflict. Our first report in this hour is from Nick B in Ukraine's second largest city, Kharkiv.
There wasn't much talk of peace on the streets.
Open clear with flashbangs.
Roger that. Instead, Kharkiv gave us a grim warning of more to come if this conflict...
All right, Roger. It's open.
Earlier, locals in Kharkiv had
Thanks
opened
for contact.
to see Russian trucks rolling in.
Drop your weapon now! Your weapon and get your hands up! Get on the ground now!
Didn't get far.
Civilian in sight.
Hands up above your head!
This was said to be a drone strike on a
Light
Russian
stick out.
convoy at an airport.
Get down! I want to see hands!
But some appealed to the hearts of the Russian soldiers to end this misery.
Hands up!
Ну что, блядь, великая Россия.
Why are you arresting me?
You're our brothers.
Civilian is secured.
Talk reporting. Affirmative, entry team.
The capital, Kyiv, has also been occupied. This was an oil depot that was targeted.
You need to relax.
Once again, homes also took the brunt.
No!
Let me go! Child was killed.
This is talk.
Of a major
Roger that, entry team. Tag him and keep moving.
Although the fighting's moving ever closer to the city centre. Hours after Russia attacked Ukraine on Thursday morning, we met Mark at a metro station.
How are you?
Today we spoke to him from our bunker to his, where he's been taking shelter, like the rest of the city, as a curfew remains in place.
We have a little food and water, and all children crying and very afraid. And we try to keep calm.
Ukraine's president said Russia should be prosecuted for a brutal assault on civilians.
Russia's criminal actions against Ukraine show signs of genocide. I talked about this with the UN Secretary General. Russia is on the path of evil.
Here in the heart of Kyiv, we're hearing the explosions get louder as the Russians draw ever nearer. Seizing this European capital while the world looks on is for now President Putin's prime objective. And everyone living here simply
Falling
has no
behind
idea
me.
just
Right behind you.
Hands up! Do it now! Hands up! Above your head! Hands up! Do it now! Drop it now!
Tutorials instructing their people on how to make petrol bombs to defend themselves. And this is how children in the capital play today. In an underground world,
Hands up! Drop to your knees!
Of what's unfolding.
The suspect has expired.
BBC News.
Talk to high ground. Affirmative, entry team.
Kelly, the US ambassador, both to the Eastern Republic of Georgia and also to the Organisation for Security and Cooperation in Europe, which is...
Drop your weapons! Now!
Not least Russia. Ambassador, thank you so much for being with us on BBC News. I wanted to ask you first of all about your response to the announcement from President Putin of putting his...
Suspect killed.
This is
Hands
talk.
up! Hands up!
Roger
Above
that,
your
entry
head!
team. Tag him and keep moving.
First of all, thank you for having me. Obviously, that's a very concerning thing when the Russian president says, in response to aggressive statements, they are raising their nuclear preparedness. I see it as a sign that Putin is feeling the bite of the sanctions. Sanctions are proliferating virally, especially in Europe, and he's afraid. So I think this is an attempt really to try and deter the West from doing further measures to take down the Russian economy.
Just on that question of sanctions, there have been some grumbles in Washington last week, not least in the US Congress. Some sense that perhaps Europe wasn't going far enough and fast enough. Do you think the latest announcements, in particular from the European Union, might please people in Washington in that regard?
Open it. Use stingers to clear.
Roger that, sir.
And I'm pretty sure it pleases my former colleagues in
Police,
Washington.
hands up!
I think particularly the the German Chancellor.
Hands up! Above your pants up! Drop to your knees!
Changing their policy about sending arms to Ukraine. I think that was a
You need to relax.
move. Banning Russian flights from.
All right, light stick out, sir.
Get down! I want to see hands!
Affirmative, entry
Make him
team.
secure.
In some of these moves.
You're as worried in the United States as
All
people
done.
are in other
Contact
parts
is
of the
secured.
world about inflation, and I wonder what your senses of US public
Civilian secured. Ready for pickup.
Talk to entry team. Copy, entry team. Notifying trailers.
In Europe, it was
Post up and cover.
in the United
Roger.
States. Ukraine is very far away, and any conflict in Europe is not of immediate daily concern.
Well, I think with the exception of some outliers in the Republican Party, I think that in terms of messaging from the leadership, political leadership of both parties, it has been very forward-leaning in terms of imposing costs on Russia for its invasion. Of course, the economy in the United States is fragile. Because of the pandemic, it's fragile because of inflation and because of supply chain problems. But I think that right now, I don't see any problems, political problems, with both the administration and Congress moving forward with even more tough sanctions.
Now, you have a background in the Slavic languages. You therefore, and obviously have spent a lot of time in Central and Eastern Europe. What's your perspective on the relationship between some of those countries that are not NATO members, like Georgia, where you served, like Ukraine, with Russia under Putin, and where it will stand now as a result of this invasion?
That's an excellent question. And since my last post, of course, was Georgia, of course, I'm very concerned about knock-on effects to Georgia, to its security, to its economic
Open
growth.
clear with flashbangs.
Copy
thing
that.
I'm really concerned about is one of the results of this aggression, I think.
Roger that.
Is
We'll take care of it.
a
Thanks, free.
tendency for countries around that don't have the protection of NATO, and of course Georgia is one of those, to try and keep their heads down and not provoke Putin even further.
Light stick
and I
away.
think that has a real retarding effect on the development
Stay on me.
of democracy
Coming to you, sir.
In the periphery of Russia.
I was very struck finally by, you obviously served with Secretary Clinton, and she famously...
Mirror for suspect.
Roger. On it now.
Hopes of a reset.
Mirror gun ready.
Spent time in Moscow, spent time talking to Putin. And her response in her memoirs is that strength and resolve...
Get down! I want to see hands!
Would understand. Do you
Room
think that
clear.
remains the case? Is it even more so the case now than when she wrote those words, 7 years ago?
It's even more so. And I think...
Down on your knees!
Kind of,
Police,
Suspect
hands
threat
up!
detected.
Hands up! Above your head!
The European nations have begun to realize this too, that we can no longer give Putin the benefit of the doubt. We can't count
Don't
him.
move. Stay put.
Firmness and resolve are the only way to...
We've got a suspect here ready for trailers.
Talk to high ground. Copy that, entry team. Proceed with mission.
Kelly, thank you very much for being with us and for joining us on BBC News. We're grateful for your insight.
Thank you.
Now, despite offering, let's hear more now from the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, on those sanctions targeting Russia's state broadcaster and what she called the private jets of Russian oligarchs.
For the first time ever, the European Union will finance the purchase and delivery of weapons and other equipment to a country that is under attack. This is a watershed moment. HRVP Borrell will present to you the proposal in a few minutes. At the same time, we're strengthening once more our sanctions against the Kremlin and its collaborator, Lukashenko's regime. First, we are shutting down the EU airspace for Russians. We're proposing a prohibition on all Russian-owned Russian-controlled aircraft.
We've got a dead suspect.
No more be able to
Talk to entry team.
take off or
Copy that,
overfly
entry
the
team.
territory of
Notifying
the
trailers.
This will apply to any plane owned, chartered, or otherwise controlled by a Russian legal or natural person. So let me be very clear. Our airspace will be closed to every Russian plane, and that includes the private jets of oligarchs too.
Now, apart from the latest sanctions announced by Ursula von der Leyen, there, European leaders have agreed other restrictions.
C2, stinging clear.
All right, copy that.
Russian banks from the SWIFT system for international transactions, which effectively allows money to be moved from one country to another, and also imposing
Fire in the hole.
assets of Russia's central bank. Our business editor Simon Jack looks now at the wider economic consequences for Russia.
As thousands took to the streets today in Berlin in outrage at Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Suspect killed.
Any remaining caution
Talk reporting.
of economic sanctions
Roger that, entry team. Tag them and keep moving.
We considered a
Police, hands up!
tightening of our international response. The European Union and its partners are working to cripple
All right,
Putin's
light stick out,
ability
sir.
to finance his war machine.
Russian banks will be excluded from an international payment system, isolating Russia from global trade. Perhaps even more damaging,
Police, hands
Russia's
up!
central bank will have its overseas assets frozen, putting Russia in the company of pariahs like Iran, Venezuela, and North Korea.
Against a country the size of Russia, these measures are completely unprecedented. And I think that not only in terms of the draconian nature of the measures, but the timing of the measures and the degree of coordination between the
Hands up!
countries in the West
Drop to your knees!
is something that potentially the Russian Federation would not have priced in.
Central banks, like the Bank of England, have
Hands
reserves of
up!
foreign currency
Drop to your
Oh,
knees!
is it?
in other central banks around the world. In times of economic crisis, you can use that money to buy your domestic currency, propping up its value. If you freeze or seize those overseas assets, you can't do it, leaving your currency, in this case the ruble, more vulnerable to collapse.
For Russia and its citizens, another plunge in the currency would present serious economic and social difficulties, according to a Moscow-based expert.
The ruble is facing a collapse of 30 to 40% when the market opens.
Falling behind me.
Coming to you, sir.
Question marks perhaps over job security. All of these things have changed literally in the last couple of days, and how that then translates into kind of social political stability that Russia's always enjoyed, that's now becoming quite an urgent question.
In the last hour, the EU banned all Russian aircraft from EU airspace. That will hit Russian holidaymakers and oligarchs' private jets. As long as Russia has customers buying its oil and gas, which these sanctions won't prevent, it will have financial fuel for its war machine. The ultimate sanction would be an international embargo, which would damage both sides in this escalating economic war. Simon Jack, BBC News.
Provide cover.
Let's get more on
Roger
the
that.
announcements from the European Union.
Provide cover.
Sunday afternoon.
Affirmative.
Sanctions announced by Ursula von der Leyen, the president.
Open and unlocked.
Brussels, is Jessica Parker. Jessica, I've just been talking to your ambassador, saying how delighted America will be
unlocked
at the moves announced this weekend, not least the ones to permit the supply of arms to those fighting in Ukraine against the Russian invasion.
Seen as something of a watershed moment, I think, here in
Through the door and clear.
the Union, because sometimes
Breaching!
the EU is
Moving
accused
up.
of being a little bit toothless. It's obviously not a military power, but what it's basically saying it wants to do, and foreign affairs ministers are basically discussing it right now, is to
Open clear with flashbangs.
enable
Roger that, sir.
want to send arms, military equipment to Ukraine to do so, and the EU
Bangs
can
ready.
potentially pay for that or reimburse them. The EU directly funding it or sending
Light
that
stick
equipment
out.
to Ukraine, things like ammunition, it would be via member states, but it's still seen as highly significant.
Cover this area.
Borrell, the EU foreign policy chief, said it was something like a taboo being ended for the European
Provide
Union.
cover.
And it's interesting because this kind of thing has been debated before, and some member states have been in favour and some member states haven't. But it seems what's happened with Russia's invasion of Ukraine has to some extent galvanised member states to doing things that they were previously pretty uncomfortable to do. But the bottom line is you could see EU-funded military equipment being used in an active conflict on European soil in Ukraine.
Police did
saying that you know the EU
suspect DOA.
Talk reporting. Roger, entry team. Notifying medical.
Is to maintain good relations with Russia. There is the impression being left, and I'm interested in your views on this, Jess, because you're right on that last bit, that there's a kind of that this is having
Deploy
a kind
C2.
of effect of
Breaching
pulling
clear.
Roger that, sir.
the EU together in a way few crises have done in the past.
Absolutely. I think that is
Fire in the
true
hole.
because I think there's an element of total shock, actually, at what has happened. For many months, Western intelligence sources have been warning Russia to invade Ukraine. Some probably don't quite believe it. And then the manner of the invasion as well, and the apparent...
Hands up!
Dual light deployed.
The capital, Kiev, I think has...
Suspect DOA.
A lot of EU countries
Talk reporting. Copy that, entry team. Notifying morgue.
Been comfortable with. It's interesting, Olaf Scholz, the German Chancellor, speaking earlier today, said that the day Russia invaded Ukraine was, in his view, a turning point in European history.
Provide support on me.
Germany is changing some of its defence policy in a quite significant way. So today, pledging to not only match the NATO target of 2% of GDP spending on defence, but actually maybe even go a little bit over that. Previously, of course, Germany's been quite reluctant on these types of issues. So
disarming trap.
Galvanised member states, but that isn't to say there haven't been disagreements, some grumblings along the way about various countries' views. But as of tonight, we are looking at the possibility of EU-funded military aid. We are looking at the EU banning all Russian
disarming trap
from EU airspace, which not long ago I don't think we would have expected to be talking about this kind of thing.
Jessica Parker, live in Brussels. Thank you so much. Now, the international petroleum giant BP has announced it's exiting its nearly 20% shareholding in the Russian energy firm Rosneft. Let's speak now to the business and markets analyst Justin Urquhart-Stewart, co-founder of the
Move to my front.
On
my way. Mirror for contacts.
Roger. We'll take care of it.
On my 6.
Was there a
Sir, right behind you.
about it, do you think?
Yes, I sadly, you're right. At various levels, but particularly when
No traps visible.
Large corporation, Gazprom.
Suspect in sight.
British shareholding, you say just 19.75%. That's a significant holding. Effectively supplying.
Open it. Use stingers to clear.
Roger that.
To an army invading Ukraine. That's not something that a British company would wish to have it associated with.
Sure thing. Steamboat going out.
Drop it.
On the ground.
In a sense, that almost closes the door, doesn't it? Because at least if you've got someone on the board,
Light
you have
stick
the
out.
potential to lobby and influence.
We've got a dead suspect here.
Talk reporting. Talk copies all. Proceed with your mission.
I'm serious. This is not just an issue of recently. It's been going for years with BP. They have always had a fraught relationship in Russia. Why? Because they don't have the same standards, accounting standards, operational standards that we'd expect. It always used to be a joke how many sets of reports would you get on their financial affairs. One for you, one for me, one for the tax people. But actually what you'd also see is the lack of these current letters at the moment, so fashionable ESG, environmental, sustainable, and governance. And you look at a company like Gazprom, and does BP
Provide support on me.
Copy that. Falling in.
So that's fine to make that decision. The problem is now they're rather over a barrel because effectively they're just saying we're selling out, but who's going to be buying? And
Yes.
on a fixed rate.
And that was the next question I was going to ask you, Justin. You were ahead of me. I mean, the problem, I suppose, is that not at all. The problem is that that's why you're on, because you're the expert. I'm the amateur asking the questions on behalf of the audience. And the one I think a lot of people are asking is, hang on a minute, they're going to sell. They're presumably selling at the worst possible time to sell.
Absolutely. I mean, you're making yourself a forced seller. Now, what's happening? The oil companies are coming up with fantastic profits at the moment. Why? Well, because the price of oil, as we all know, has gone up so dramatically. And when you look at the impact this actually has, we're talking about their results were over $12 billion last year for BP, and about a fifth of that came from Rosneft. So take that away, that's bad news for shareholders, and actually not just ordinary shareholders, but you and I and anybody else who's got their pension scheme, we will have our part of that pension scheme will be a BP and therefore connected to Russia. So for all various levels, I think this is going to be almost inevitable. But who loses out? It's going to be BP. Whose benefit? Well, I suspect whichever, no doubt, Russian company will come in and buy it and take it off their hands.
Now, these questions will be asked by lots of companies who have connections or stakes in Russia. Can we continue? Should we continue? What are the reputational risks of continuing?
I think an awful lot of companies will take a step back and say, actually, we do not wish to be associated with this at all, not just in terms of business practice, but in terms of the amount of money laundering that's been going on, and we still haven't got to the bottom of that. You have to follow the money to see where the stink of that is going. And so anybody, whereas a few years ago would have had, let's invest in Russia, it's opening up a new capitalist society, when actually it's seen itself to be a kleptocracy, and therefore the rule of commercial law, frankly, doesn't apply. So good investors will pull
Deploy
away
C2. Breaching.
All right, copy that.
Make sure that they have no connection, and companies themselves will be saying it's not worth the risk. But if you sell out now, as you said, it's going to be the worst time.
Need C2 up front.
Justin Urquhart, Stuart, as ever, thank you so much for your knowledge of the markets and for keeping us up to date here on BBC. Now! News actually from the Sports World Football. FIFA, the international governing body of football, announced it
restrained targets.
Condemnation of the use of force by Russia.
Got him, cuffed and secured.
Hands up now! Drop your knees!
International competition will be played on the
You have the right to remain silent.
Talk reporting. Roger that. Trailers incoming. Proceed with caution.
No spectators will be permitted. The member association representing Russia will only be allowed to participate under the
Falling behind me.
Union of Russia.
Right behind you.
Russia, whether any will turn up in those terms or even be allowed to turn up by the Russian government has to be doubtful. But anyway, that's the plan. And no flag or anthem of Russia will be used in matches where teams from the football